Yummy. Well, good afternoon everyone. It's afternoon tea time for these girls. So they are heading to the feed pad now. Watch out. I need to buy myself a chipper because there's a few of these popping up around the place. A few bigger ones over here. You can do it with a spade, but I find it's easier with a chipper. I have got the head of one at the shed, but I keep breaking the handles on them, so probably should weld like a steel handle on them, and then that'd sort of solve that problem. This is where the cows have been grazing today. So there's one of the drains that feeds the lake, and it gets really wet down the bottom here. It flooded probably a month or two ago, but one of the problems is that you get this stuff and it's just started coming up. This is the willow weed, so it's a good time to spray it now while it's small like this. It's even getting quite big in places. That's it there, so it's starting to come through pretty good. It's an absolutely horrible weed because once it gets big it smothers everything, and then it goes to seed and drops thousands of seeds everywhere. We get it on predominantly this low-lying country, so I really need to spray sort of here, the next paddock, the next two along. There's one over there that hit it really bad last year. It's just finding time. It's a little bit breezy, so can't do it at the moment, and mornings, our milkings do take a while, so it's a little bit hard to get out and go spraying in the morning, but that would be the ideal time. Just having a bit of a look to see if I can see any carp. The water in the drains is still real high, but it's real hard to see when it's sort of cloudy like today because there's such a bad glare on it. No, can't see any. One of the things I really want to do down here though is that I want to move this fence probably back 2 or 3 meters to probably where I'm standing here would be alright, so straight down there, and then I want to plant from the fence towards that drain and natives, and sort of, I think it'd look really nice, a riparian zone along this waterway. Also probably help with the water quality as well, but I think it'd look awesome. There are schemes out there or projects you can sort of get funding to do it, but I have sort of tried or had a look, but there's not much out there for right here, so hopefully in the future sort of a project we can look at. I have got a heap of other spaces on the farm too I want to do, so I'll probably try and do them first, but like I said, it's hard finding funding and it is expensive. Cows are coming in here tonight for a graze, so I've just split this paddock in half. I wound that fence up the other day because I have put some fertiliser on this paddock, but it is definitely earmarked for one that I could potentially undersow, because see all this chickweed that's here? This stuff's just another weed. Look, it's easy to pull out, but it just smothers everything underneath, so there's no grass there in these big areas like this. And you can see where it's sort of been before, so there would have been chickweed there that's just died, but nothing's growing there now, and that's what I really hate. Unproductive areas like that, it is pretty small, but if you went around the whole paddock and added them all up, it would probably be quite a bit. So this paddock can grow quite good grass up the top here, like it's nice heavy sort of ashy soils. It is a little bit lighter on the hillsides, which they tend to be because there's less topsoil there, but I just think it should be growing a little bit more than what it is at the moment, and it is pretty weedy. So something to think about, although I do have a couple of other paddocks like this as well, so where do you draw the line? Well, it looks like they're all waiting around, so I'd say they're finished eating, which means they can go. Clean the bins up pretty well. change this bungee over for the morning. I needed something because when the cows came out of here in the morning, they would come this way if I didn't have anything there. So what I used to do is use a reel. I just put a reel over there and hook it to this fence. But what I've done, I did it probably a couple of years ago, is I just hooked a handle on that end and put a handle on that end and just tie a bungee between it, and it works pretty well. So before I just hooked it over there so the cows knew to turn in. And the reason I haven't fixed it to that side of the race, so I could have sort of stapled or put an insulator on a post over there and kept it here, was that because I like to use it elsewhere, so I can take it off and I use it for when they go into 9A, which is up there, or I take it down and put it across the race when they're going in number 6. It's just easy and I can use it anywhere on the farm. Just setting up a paddock for the cows in the morning, but they're going to come into here where I strip spray, and you can see how well it's worked. So look at that. Isn't that awesome? Nice grass here. So this is where they're going to plant into. Hopefully, I think, when did they do it? 2.5 weeks ago. So hopefully the roots they're dying off real nicely. But it's looking good, I reckon. Not that I really know because I haven't done it before, but I think it looks alright. The irrigator's set up over here because I'm putting effluent on these paddocks at the moment, but this is permanent grass, so not annual, and you can sort of see the lines a little bit better. It is a little bit crossed, or the lines are crossed down there, because when he was going under the trees he said he lost GPS signal, so it affected it a little bit. But while I'm here I thought I'd go and check out the calving mob and see how they're getting on, or what's left of it really, but they're just in that paddock right there. Now that is a good sight. So that's one less. There are 5 cows over here. She's calved 202, 227. This is the last cow to calve here, so we've got 1 to go, and I don't think she'll be far away. She is bagging up. She was supposed to calve today. She was due yesterday, so pretty accurate. And these other 3 that are here as well, so these are heifers and they are empty. So they're going in the freezer for home kill. Richard's going to come and do them this week, I think. If it's not this week, it'll be next week. But it's a bit of a shame because that heifer right there, heifer number 32, she's like the highest BW animal I have in the herd, and typically it's empty, so a bit of a shame. And I don't carry them over. I just don't see the point. If they don't get in calf the first time, we just don't keep them. It's the whole fertility thing that I've sort of said before. So 3 empties this year out of 72, which that's all right. We sort of usually budget on sort of having 2, so 3's not too bad, I suppose. That's a real shame though. She's a nice looking cow. Hey, damn. But this little fella will stay with Mum. He can have a drink off her, and we'll come and milk her tomorrow. Well, can you notice something? This is the corner of the paddock down here. So there's the gate where the cows will come through, and from this line right here back that way has not been sprayed out. So it hasn't been strip sprayed, which is a real pain because it's a little bit late to do it now. So what I'm going to have to do, I think, I'll ring Finch's I guess and see what the best thing to do is, but probably going to have to just spray this area out and probably work it up, so disc like through here, and then plant it sort of conventionally, or not with the direct drill anyway. Well, I suppose the machine can still do it, but yeah, it's a little bit of a pain. It's too much of an area to leave. You could say, well, why don't you just leave it? It's too much of an area. It's an annual, so this will just go to seed and become pretty much useless through the summer. It needs to go in maize. Yeah, a little bit of a pain, bummer. I did think it was a little bit weird because I drove past when he was spraying there by the trough, and I did see him sort of crossing it off in front. I was like, well, why didn't he come round? But I didn't really think too much of it at the time, and you can't really see where the spray's been, so I can sort of understand too, because there is this big puddle here and it was pretty wet when he came, so maybe he just thought he didn't really want to come in here, or it wouldn't have worked, or I don't know, something. Not really too much point crying over spilt milk, it doesn't really matter. But it probably would be good to sort of maybe disc this area as well, because it needs sort of smoothing off. The cows do camp down here when I've put them in here, and it is pugged up a little bit, so perhaps it could be better just to disc it anyway. Sort of tidy this area up as well. Well, it's the next morning now, but I don't think the sunrise is going to be real nice today. We haven't had a real good one for quite a while now, and the weather's supposed to turn to custard pretty soon too. But see this cow here, I think she's 88. So she was coming in not long ago with these front quarters like real slimy. The teats were real slimy, and it looked like she'd been milked out in these two, or both front quarters actually. So I put red on her back. There's a little bit of red there, sort of all faded now, because she had been getting suckled by another cow. That's what generally happens. We usually get like one a year. We have for the last couple of seasons. It's pretty easy to tell because the slobber's what makes it real slimy. But put red on her so I could easily spot her in the paddock. And then the other day I seen, well actually for a couple of days I'd seen this cow that had been sort of right next to her in the morning when I'd gone and got them, and then the other morning I seen a little bit of sort of like white foam around its mouth, which was probably like milk froth, which I guess you could say was sort of like a telltale giveaway, or at least I thought it was. And here she is here. So I've put a nose ring on her about probably 4 to 5 days ago, and the morning after I did it, that cow number 88, she came in with 2 full as front quarters, so problem solved. It was definitely that black cow 166, so it's good to sort of sort that out. Now there's 2 reasons we don't want cows suckling other cows. The first one being that it's just milk that's not going in the vat, so we're not making money off it. The second one is that it opens up that teat end, which allows bacteria and bugs to get in there, and a higher chance of mastitis. So we want to kick it in the guts, that one, so that nose ring should sort it out. Probably leave that nose ring on her for about another month, and then might take it off, and if she does it again, then we'll put it back on for another month. So eventually she will get the idea that it's bad to suckle other cows. It'll be real nice if that other one calved too, but I don't think so, because I seen him spreading some cause mag out before, so he wouldn't be doing that if she had calved. He's just on his way back with that cow, so I'm just heading down to change the gates over for him. But this old plum tree was the last one to blossom. It was quite a wee way behind them. That was the first one. Maybe they're all different varieties, I'm not sure. They'd probably be about 100 years old, those trees. So this whole paddock here used to be an orchard. So there used to be an apple tree. There's an old apple tree over there where the calves are, and it was a sort of, I guess, the orchard for the house, which was just up there. Like that. And now those plum trees are the only thing that's left, but there used to be a lot more. There's that apple tree right there that doesn't actually fruit now, it's sort of dead. By the time it takes me to walk down there and change those gates over though, all these cows are all milked out, so we'll change these cups over. But it's good because this cow here, she's real slow, that's why I put red on her, pink, just in this main quarter here, or the back right. So put them on before I left. Hopefully she milks out properly this morning. Go on, girly girlies. Come on you, 130. Here's that new cow. There, Dad's dropped her off. Or brought her in, but I was going to cull that cow there, 130. But I'll wait till the herd test and see what she's doing. I'll see what her sow count is first. I suspect it'll be real high, but it might be worth just keeping her and then culling her at the end of the season, possibly. Come on you. There you go, come on. This is a nice cow here, number 74. Come on. Beautiful little 4-year-old. But we have got 2 culls going this morning. They're both in this herd, but none of them have come in yet. But here's that real slow cow, number 30. So you can see that quarter is still holding a little bit of milk, and she's probably been milking 5 minutes longer than all the rest. Right, so here's one of them here. This is number 304. She has been milked and milked her into the test bucket. She's got a bit of a gunky quarter. Tried to treat it, or I have treated it, and it never come right. And she's not really pulling her weight. I was just looking to see if there's a litre mark on there. So she's giving like 10 litres, which isn't enough. So she's out of here. And here's the other one here. And she's actually empty. Come on. So she's definitely not pulling her weight because she's not even giving any milk. But this is good timing, so the druxes turn up 15 minutes early. It doesn't matter, we're ready to go. So we try not to load out of here because that ramp needs a lot of attention to it, but we just didn't have enough time today to get them down the bottom. Just had to fill out a bit of paperwork, but there and there, the only two on the truck, so they're in the front pen. There is 3 pens, so 1, 2, 3, and then there's 2 up top, 1, 2. You know what's real annoying though? I filled out the TB form and then I couldn't rip the paper out. I thought, oh, these new books must be like the old ones, they're real hard to get out, so made a bit of a mess on it, and then I turned out, and this is the carbon copy, it hadn't filled out, so I'd done it on the wrong bit of paper, so I had to fill out another one. Still need to hook this trough up. I think the bullcock's here. Yeah, it is. I just need to plumb that in. And the other end, which is over there, but there are 2 troughs down the bottom. No, there's 1 trough down the bottom here, so they can still get water. But it's pretty hard case. I was speaking to Dad the other day, probably about a week ago, maybe a little bit longer, in the pit, and we were talking about how many cows are left in the calving mob, and he said one of them looks like it's ages away, and I was like, oh, what's the number on it? And he remembered it, so I had to look up, and then it said on its PD status empty. So we've clearly just missed that back in May when we sent the rest away to the works, so we've been carrying it through the winter for nothing really, so it's good to get that away now at least. But with that other cow, you might be thinking, well, why not just keep it till the end of the season, sort of get a bit of milk off and earn a bit of money from it? Well, my theory is that it's just not efficient enough, so it's not giving enough milk for the amount of feed that it's eating at the moment. So that's why I'm sort of getting rid of it now. Saves me having to feed another cow. It gives these cows a little bit more grass in the paddock. It's only 1 cow, but it all makes the difference at the end of the day. They always just love licking my motorbike. I don't know why. Hey. It gets all sticky.